All right, everyone, welcome. Today we are doing a deep dive all about how to get ready for an installation engineer interview.
Definitely going to help you nail it.
We are talking about a career that blends technical skills and, thinking about the big picture.
Big picture for sure.
You're the one making sure these really complex installations,
Right.
from power plants to bridges, they actually, get built safely and on budget.
And that is what we are diving into today with RoleCatcher's installation engineer resources, both their career guide and their interview guide.
Okay. Yeah.
So think of this like a crash course
Yeah.
in not just what the job is, but how to, stand out to those hiring managers.
Okay, let's unpack this a little bit
Yeah.
before we even get to the interview part. Like, what does an installation engineer actually do day to day?
Think of it like this, okay? You're the conductor of an orchestra, but instead of instruments, you're coordinating people, materials, and technology.
Okay.
Installation engineers oversee that whole process. From those initial designs, using CAD software all the way through testing and making sure everything is built to code safely and without, going over budget.
That's a lot.
It is.
Like, we're talking about projects that can take years to complete, right?
Absolutely. And the career guide highlights how massive some of these installations can be.
Yeah.
And that's why this role is so important,
Yeah.
It's the link between the design phase and the actual physical construction.
I'm already getting nervous just thinking about it.
Right.
But let's, channel that nervous energy into, productive prep.
Yes.
Time to tackle those interview questions.
Yes.
And luckily, RoleCatcher's interview guide gives us 10 common ones to practice with.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And remember, as we go through these, we're not just giving you the quote-unquote right answer. We're helping you understand what the interviewer is really trying to figure out with each question.
Okay.
So you can tailor your response and really show off your skills.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive in. First question. Can you describe your experience with installing and configuring hardware and software systems?
Okay.
Seems pretty straightforward, right?
It might seem that way, but the interviewer isn't just looking for a list of all the tech you've used.
Right.
What they're really trying to understand is how comfortable you are with the essential tools of the trade and whether your experience lines up with the systems they use.
So how do you answer this then without sounding like a robot just reciting your resume?
I would focus on relevance.
Okay.
Highlight those systems that are directly related to the job you're applying for.
Okay.
So, for example, if it's a construction-focused role, talk about your experience with CAD software.
Makes sense.
Maybe even mentioning specific projects where you used it for, designing installations.
Okay. And what about certifications? Should you mention those here?
Absolutely. Certifications show that you're invested in professional development.
Yeah.
And have the skills to back it up. So this is your chance to really show them off, especially if they relate to the systems they mention in the job description.
Okay, so we've nailed the approach, but what about those follow-up questions? What might they throw at you next?
Well, be ready to discuss those specific projects where you use those systems.
Yeah.
They might ask about challenges you face, how you solve them, or even go into the nitty-gritty details about specific software versions or industry standards, and this is where your prep will really pay off.
Love it. Okay, on to question number 2. How do you ensure that installations are completed within the designated time frame? The eternal struggle of time management.
Every employer wants someone who can get things done on time.
Right.
And within budget. So what they're looking for here is, your organizational skills, your ability to prioritize, and whether you understand the importance of sticking to those project timelines.
So it's not enough to just say, I'm good at managing my time.
Nope. You got to walk them through your process. How do you break down a complex project into those smaller steps? How do you assess and allocate resources? Do you use, specific project management tools or techniques? These details really show that you're not just winging it.
Great advice. But let's be real. Things don't always go according to plan. So what if you run into some, unexpected delays?
That's where your problem-solving skills really come in.
Right.
Be ready to share a story about a time when a project went off schedule,
Okay.
how you identified the issue, how you communicated with stakeholders, and ultimately how you found a solution to kind of minimize that disruption.
Okay, so flexibility and adaptability are just as important as, having that plan.
Oh, for sure.
And speaking of things that don't always go smoothly, question number 3. Can you describe your experience with troubleshooting hardware and software issues? I feel like this one's kind of a given in this field.
Absolutely. Installation projects, they're complex, right? There's bound to be hiccups along the way. So the interviewer wants to make sure you're not just good with blueprints, but you can also get your hands dirty and solve problems when things go wrong.
So how do we convince them that we're, like, troubleshooting pros?
Think STAR method.
Okay.
Situation, task, action, result.
Right?
Pick a specific situation where you had a technical problem, describe the task you were responsible for, outline the steps you took to diagnose and fix the problem, and then highlight that positive outcome.
Okay, great tip. And I think this kind of connects back to something that was mentioned in the RoleCatcher Career Guide. Remember how it said that one of the cons of the job is that the work can be repetitive?
Oh, yeah.
Well, here's your chance to, like, spin that into a positive.
Exactly. You can say something like, even though I might be troubleshooting similar issues, I see it as an opportunity to refine my process, learn some new techniques, and become even more efficient.
Ooh, that's a great way to, to frame it.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 4. How do you ensure that installations meet the client's requirements and expectations? This one seems more about communication than tech skills.
It is. This is where you really get to showcase your ability to build relationships, understand client needs, and, translate that technical jargon into plain English.
Right.
Remember, you'll be interacting with all sorts of people, clients, architects, designers, construction crews, so clear communication is key.
So how do we go beyond just saying, I'm a good communicator?
I would share a specific example where you successfully collaborated with a client to meet their needs.
Okay.
Maybe you had to explain a really complex technical concept in a way that they could understand, or maybe you had to negotiate a change in scope to accommodate their budget or timeline.
And this is where that typical interactions section of the career guide comes in handy, right?
Yeah.
It gives us a good idea of, like, who we'll actually be working with on a daily basis.
Yeah, you can even weave in some details from that section to paint a picture of your collaborative skills and your ability to, navigate all those different perspectives.
Great point. Okay, what about potential follow-up questions for this one?
Well, they might ask about a time when a client wasn't happy with some aspect of the installation.
Yep.
This is your chance to show off those conflict resolution skills,
Right.
Explain how you actively listened to their concerns, investigated the issue, and worked with them to find a solution.
Okay, so it's not just about avoiding conflict, but about handling it professionally and effectively.
Exactly.
Now, let's shift gears a bit. Question number 5. Can you describe your experience with network installation and configuration? Back to the technical side of things.
This is where you really get to show off your understanding of network architecture, protocol, security. Think about the types of networks you've worked with, LAN, WAN, wireless, and any specialized software or hardware you're good at, like routers, switches, firewalls.
Okay.
Don't just list them, though. Quantify your experience. Okay, like you could say, I've installed and configured networks for businesses with over 500 employees.
Okay, so we're painting a clear picture of our capabilities.
Exactly.
What kind of follow-up questions might we get here?
Be prepared to walk them through a specific network troubleshooting scenario.
Okay.
They might ask about diagnosing a connectivity issue or resolving a security vulnerability.
Got it. It's
Yeah.
about showing them that you can, like, not just build a network, but actually keep it running smoothly.
Exactly.
Okay, on to question number 6. How do you ensure that installations are completed safely and in compliance with regulations? Safety first.
You got it. And this isn't just about checking boxes on a checklist.
Right.
The interviewer really wants to see that you genuinely care about creating a safe work environment and understand the importance of complying with all the relevant regulations.
So how do we convince them that we're not going to cut corners on safety?
Go beyond simply mentioning your familiarity with OSHA regulations.
Yeah.
Talk about your personal approach to safety. Do you conduct thorough risk assessments before you start any work? Do you use specific safety checklists or protocols? Do you regularly train your team on best practices? These are the things that show you're proactive, not reactive.
Love that. And what about some specific examples? How do we make this, really come to life?
Tell a story.
Okay.
Maybe you spotted a potential hazard on a job site and, took immediate action to kind of mitigate that risk. Or maybe you developed a new safety procedure that really improved your team's safety record.
Right.
Those concrete examples make a much stronger impression than those vague statements.
A good story always wins.
Right.
Okay. What about follow-up questions for this one?
Well, they might ask about specific safety equipment or procedures relevant to their industry,
Okay.
or they might even present a hypothetical safety scenario and ask you to explain how you'd handle it, and this is where your knowledge of potential hazards comes in handy. The work environment section of the career guide mentions things like working at heights, dealing with heavy equipment, the need for specific safety gear, all that.
Great point. Okay, we're making good progress here. Question number 7. Can you describe your experience with supervising installation teams? Sounds like they're really looking for those leadership qualities.
Exactly. This is your chance to, showcase your ability to motivate a team, delegate tasks effectively, give clear instructions, and foster that positive and productive work environment.
Right.
Installation engineers often lead teams, so this is a crucial skill.
So how do we highlight those leadership skills, even if we haven't had a formal supervisory role in the past?
Think about times when you've taken initiative or mentored others, even if it was in like a more informal setting.
Yeah.
Maybe you led a group project in college, you trained a new coworker, or you volunteered for a leadership role in a community organization.
Yeah, and don't forget, the career guide mentions that installation engineers often work long hours and might need to manage overtime, so that's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about those leadership challenges.
You're right. You might face situations where you need to motivate your team to, push through a tight deadline or handle those unexpected issues that come up during the installation process.
Right.
It's not always easy, but effective leadership is about, navigating those challenges and keeping everyone on track.
So it's not just about being a cheerleader, it's about being able to make tough decisions and keep the project going.
Exactly. Are you ready for question number 8?
Bring it on.
Okay, so question number 8, how do you stay up to date with the latest installation technologies and techniques? So this one's all about showing that you are committed to continuous learning
Oh, yeah.
in a field that's always evolving.
I can already see how crucial that is. We were just talking about CAD software.
Right.
And who knows what new technology is right around the corner.
Exactly.
So how do we convince them that we're on top of it all?
I think specificity is really key here.
Yeah.
So instead of just saying you read industry publications, name those publications. What are they?
Yeah.
Do you follow specific blogs, online forums, industry influencers on social media?
Right.
Have you attended any recent conferences or workshops? Mention those too, and highlight any key takeaways or new skills you gained.
And the career guide actually mentions a few good starting points, right?
Yeah.
Like professional associations
Yes.
and those industry events that they talked about.
Exactly. Weaving those in shows you've already done some research and are plugged into that industry's learning network.
Okay, what about those tricky follow-up questions?
Yeah.
They're not going to let us off that easy.
Right. Be prepared to talk about a specific technology that's, relevant to their company or the types of installations they do.
Right.
That means doing your research on the company beforehand, understanding their projects, the tech they likely use.
Right, okay, so tailoring our response is key.
Yes.
Question number 9. Can you describe a time when you encountered a difficult installation problem and how you resolved it? Time for some good old-fashioned problem solving.
This is your chance to shine.
Okay.
The interviewer wants to see your analytical thinking in action, like how you approach a challenge, gather information, and ultimately find that solution.
Okay.
But you want to choose a story that's relevant to the installation engineer role, something that demonstrates those skills they're looking for.
Right, so not that time I had to fix my grandma's Wi-Fi router.
Right, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what kind of story would really, impress them?
Think about a time when you had to troubleshoot a complex issue, maybe one that required you to think outside the box, get creative with your solution, or even collaborate with others to find the answer.
And this is where we can, weave in some of those real-world details from the career guide, right?
Yes.
It mentioned that the work can be physically demanding. So maybe our story could involve overcoming a physical challenge on a job site.
That's a great idea. It shows you're not afraid to roll up your sleeves.
Right.
And that you can handle the physical demands of the job.
Okay, we've got our problem-solving story ready.
Yeah.
What about those follow-up questions? They're gonna want to know more.
Oh, for sure. Be prepared to discuss the lessons you learned from that experience.
Okay.
Did it change your approach to problem solving?
Right.
Would you do anything differently next time?
Okay.
Showing that kind of reflection demonstrates growth and, a willingness to learn from your mistakes.
That's a great point. Okay, last question.
All right.
How do you ensure that installations are completed to the highest quality standards? So quality control, a crucial part of any job,
Yes.
especially in this field, right?
Absolutely. They want to know that you're detail-oriented, take pride in your work, and are committed to, delivering those top-notch installations.
Okay.
So how do you ensure quality in your projects?
Let's talk process.
Yeah.
Do you have specific checklists you use? Do you conduct those like thorough inspections at each stage of the installation? What about, working with your team to maintain that quality throughout the whole project?
And here's where we can bring in one of the key trends that's mentioned in the career guide, the increasing use of building information modeling or BIM software.
Oh yeah, BIM.
Yes.
It's not just about creating like cool 3D models, is it?
No, BIM allows you to create that virtual representation of the entire installation.
Wow.
So you can identify any potential clashes or issues before they even happen in the real world.
Okay.
It's like having X-ray vision for your project.
That's incredible. So BIM is like a huge asset for quality control.
It is.
Yeah.
And mentioning it in your answer shows you're aware of those industry trends and are eager to, adopt those new technologies that improve quality and efficiency.
Okay, we have officially tackled all 10 interview questions.
We did it.
I am feeling a little bit more prepared. I don't know about you.
Me too, yeah.
But there's one more, like, ace up our sleeve that we need to discuss.
Okay.
RoleCatcher AI.
Yes.
AI now we're talking. This sounds futuristic.
It is. Think of it like this. You have a personal career coach right at your fingertips,
Okay.
guiding you through every step of the job search process. It's like having a secret weapon.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
All right, so remember how we talked about tailoring your resume and cover letter to each specific job description?
Right?
Well, RoleCatcher AI takes that to a whole new level.
Okay.
It uses these advanced algorithms to analyze job postings and compare them to your profile, then suggests ways to optimize your application materials
Okay.
to make sure you're highlighting the most relevant skills and using the right keywords.
So it's like it knows exactly what the recruiter is looking for.
Yes.
And helps you present yourself in the best possible light. No more getting lost in the black hole of, like, online applications.
That's right.
This is amazing.
And it goes beyond just your application materials. With RoleCatcher's Copilot feature, you can actually get AI-powered feedback on your answers to those tricky interview questions we just talked about.
Wait, so it's like having a virtual mock interview with, like, an expert.
It is.
That's incredible.
You can type in your answers, and the AI will analyze them, give you suggestions for improvement, and even point out any potential red flags that you might not have noticed yourself.
Wow, I wish I had this when I was interviewing for jobs.
I know, it's a game changer. But we all know that, nailing an interview is about more than just what you say.
Right.
It's also about how you present yourself.
Yeah.
Your body language, your tone of voice, all of that.
You're right, and that's where RoleCatcher's AI-powered video practice tool comes in, right?
Exactly. You can record yourself answering those interview questions.
Okay.
And the AI will analyze your nonverbal communication, giving you feedback on things like eye contact, facial expressions, even the pace of your speech.
It's like having a personal coach who can, like, see everything and give you that, like, honest, constructive feedback.
Precisely. And the best part is you can practice as many times as you need to until you feel completely confident and comfortable.
That's amazing. I am loving this. So much less intimidating than doing, like, a mock interview with an actual person.
Right.
Okay, so we've talked about what installation engineers do. We've tackled those tough interview questions, and we've explored this amazing, like, world of AI-powered career tools.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty pumped. I don't know about you, but
You too.
what are some key takeaways for our listeners to, like, remember as they prepare for these interviews?
Well, preparation is everything. The more you know about the role, the company, and the interview process itself, the more confident you'll feel.
Uh-huh.
And remember, the interviewer isn't trying to trick you. They
Right.
just want to see if you're a good fit for the job and the company culture.
Right.
So relax, be yourself, and let your skills and your personality shine through.
Great advice. And even after you land that dream job, the learning doesn't stop. The career guide talks about the importance of, continuous learning, earning certifications, and even exploring different career paths within, the field of installation engineering.
That's right. This is a field with a lot of room for growth.
Yeah.
So stay curious, keep learning, and who knows where your career might take you.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
It has.
Before we wrap up, is there like a final thought-provoking question that we can leave our listeners with? Something to, like, ponder as they continue on their career journey.
Absolutely. Remember that industry trends section we mentioned earlier?
Yes.
It highlighted the increasing focus on sustainability in construction.
Right.
So here's the question for you. How would you, as an installation engineer, incorporate those eco-friendly practices into your work?
Ooh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
It's not just about building structures, it's about building a better future, right?
Exactly. Keep that in mind as you embark on your exciting career as an installation engineer.
Yes. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Don't forget to check out RoleCatcher for all the resources that we mentioned, and best of luck in your job search.
Yeah, it really is. And like thinking about sustainability, that's not just a trend. It's like the future of the entire construction industry. And as an installation engineer, you'll be like right at the forefront of that shift, making decisions that impact not just, the project,
Yeah.
but like the environment as a whole.
That's pretty powerful. So it sounds like having a solid understanding of, sustainable practices and materials is going to be pretty essential for installation engineers going forward.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's where resources like RoleCatcher become even more valuable. They can help you stay up to date on those evolving industry trends
Right.
and like equip you with the knowledge you need to succeed.
Okay, this deep dive has been so eye-opening.
Yeah.
We've gone from understanding what an installation engineer actually does day to day
Right.
to prepping for all those tough interview questions, and then even exploring the world of AI-powered career tools.
Yes. Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It really have.
And remember, this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
The world of installation engineering is constantly evolving, so continuous learning and a passion for, innovation are key to succeeding in this field.
Okay, as we wrap things up, what's the one thing our listeners should take away from this deep dive as they prep for their installation engineer interviews?
I would say be prepared to showcase not just your technical skills, but also like your problem-solving abilities, your communication skills, and your passion for the field.
Okay.
Those are the qualities that will really make an installation engineer stand out.
Great advice. And don't forget to check out RoleCatcher.
Yes.
Their resources and AI-powered tools are incredible assets for anyone going through, the job search.
Absolutely. And best of luck to all those inspiring installation engineers out there.
We're rooting for you. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.